Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, and this is the second hearing this month of the City of Tempe Hearing Officer. My name is Vanessa McDonald, and I'm the hearing officer for the city, so I'll be conducting the hearing this afternoon. I'm going to read something into the record, and then we'll go ahead and jump into our brief agenda this afternoon. The City of Tempe Hearing Officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer has the duty to carry out the provisions and the intent of the Zoning and Development Code and the Tempe City Code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the city. These violations include, but aren't limited to, deteriorated landscaping, inoperable or unregistered vehicles, deteriorated structures, storage of junk or refuse, or deteriorated swimming pools. Abatement actions are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain voluntary compliance with the code. The hearing officer may issue an order directing the owner, occupant, rental agent, property manager, or other responsible person to remediate a code violation or authorize the city to abate the property to correct that violation. The cost of the abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurs and will be collected as an assessment against the property found to be in violation. On today's agenda, we have 3 items. We have first a set of minutes from February 7th, 2023, and we have 2 property abatements. Any property owner who's aggrieved or disagrees with the decision of the hearing officer can file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. As such, the deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on March 14th, 2023. These appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment, after which they also can be appealed to the Arizona Superior Court. A property owner has 14 days to either file an appeal or bring the property into code compliance within this 14-day window. If neither of these things happen within the required time frame, the property will be abated by the city. Joining me this afternoon from Community Development to my left are Drew Yoakum and Cassidy Hernandez. Thanks for being here and helping out, you guys. As I mentioned, the first item on our agenda this afternoon is a set of minutes from February 7th, 2023. I had a chance to review those minutes. Cassidy was kind enough to send them to me in advance, and I believe that they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and approve the minutes of February 7th, 2023. The second item on our agenda this afternoon is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Coledge property. This property is located at 1420 East David Drive. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Code and Compliance Inspector Don Alexander. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. Thank you. My name is Don Alexander. I'm a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division. I'm here this evening to request a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 1420 East Dava Drive here in the City of Tempe, Arizona, 85283. Okay. The case was initiated on 8/11/2022. The complaint was for a sidewalk obstruction of street and sidewalk obstruction of tree branches overhanging it into the public pathway and street, and deteriorated landscaping, weeds and grass growing in the gravel landscape. A notice was mailed and emailed to the owner. It was discovered that through the water billing, the owner had an email address, so that individual sent a copy. On 9/2/2022, there had been no changes. Therefore, a final notice was mailed and emailed to the owner. On 9/28 2022. No response from the owner after a pink hanger was placed on the door. The owner's phone number had been disconnected at that time. On 9/30/2022, civil citation was issued. On 11/2/2022, the owner failed to appear for court for that particular citation. And on 1/13/2023, a notice was posted to the front door of the property for a notice of intent to abate, and it was also mailed to the property owner. So I'm recommending an abatement of the nuisance violations at the property of 1420 East Dava Drive due to the property owner's failure to bring the property into compliance. I do have photos
Thank you.
that I'd like
You
to.
could show me the photos, and these are from today.
These are from today. You can see the weeds growing in the gravel landscaping of the entire front and side yard. There's also a tree branch blocking the street sign, so that will be part of the violation that will be taken care of.
Sure.
Okay. The second photo is basically the east side of the property that has weeds and grass growing in it.
Wow, it's gotten much worse.
Yes.
Than,
And this photo is in the middle of the front yard. You still have.
Hey, Don, just make sure you keep speaking.
Sorry. All right. This is a photo of the middle of the front yard. And as you can see, there's weeds and grass growing within that particular area. And then the last photo would be of the front west side yard. And yes, the weeds have gotten worse because of the recent rains.
right. So the property owner, throughout the process since August, has been completely unresponsive. right?
Absolutely.
Okay. No response to the email, phone calls,
No,
door
no phone
hangers.
calls, no emails, no anything. No response from
No
the property.
communication. Okay, I'd just like to get that on the record.
Yes.
If I can. Mr. Yocum, do we have any member of the public here this afternoon or online wanting to speak on this agenda item?
No, Madam Hearing Officer.
Not on this item? Okay, thank you. Well, this seems pretty simple. The property has deteriorated. You've been working on this since August of last year. And the pictures kind of speak for themselves. It's not gotten better. In fact, it's gotten worse.
Worse, yes.
So I agree with your assessment, and I will grant your 180-day request so that you can have the tools that you need to stay on top of the property. So thank you. Yeah. I'm approving the request for abatement of nuisance items contained in application CE 224663. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Hearing Officer.
The next item on our agenda this afternoon is item number 3. This is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Shepherd property. This property is located at 1949 East Harvard Drive. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Compliance Inspector Julie Schofield. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. Julie Schofield, Senior Code Inspector with the Code Compliance Division, here today to ask for a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 1849 East Harvard Drive. This complaint came in back in September of 2022, to be exact, the 29th. It was I've had several complaints, actually, and it's regarding the landscaping, junk, trash, and debris, lawn parking, and unregistered vehicles. 3 notices have been sent out to the property owner. The first notice went out by the original inspector, who was Cody Ois, who's actually no longer with the city, but he went out on September 30th of 2022 and found the property to be in violation of inoperable vehicles. He did send a first notice to the owner. A second or a final notice from Inspector Cody Ois went out in October of 2022. Still, the property was in violation for the unregistered vehicles. October 31st of 2022, Mr. Oas went to the property and tried to make contact with the owner and put his information on the door, hoping to get some sort of contact or some communication going regarding the violation, but that did not happen. In November of 14th of 2022, I ended up taking over this case, and so I wanted to make sure that I sent out a proper notice. I went to the property. The property was in violation for multiple unregistered vehicles in the driveway, and another final notice was issued to the owner. December 1st, 2022, I did issue a citation to the owner for the unregistered vehicles. On January 17th, I did receive a subpoena for court to be held February 2nd of 2023, but the property owner failed to show up for court that day, and so the citation has gone unpaid. So again, I am asking for a 180-day open abatement for this property for the unregistered vehicles, and I do have a few pictures to show you.
Thank you.
This is the property in question. It was hard to get real good pictures because he now has like a big trailer in the front on the street, and so I just had to kind of do some side pictures. But there's two unregistered vehicles in the driveway. They definitely are older vehicles. As you can see, there's no plates, and they don't have any like temporary plates or anything going on. So. And this is just another angle. You'll see that they don't have any plates or any proper registration.
And how about the trailer? Is that registered?
I'm not sure about the trailer because it is on the street. It is going to be a police matter.
Okay.
But anything on the property would be, if approved today, I could have it taken care of. And that's why I asked for the 180 days. So in the event he brings more unregistered inoperable vehicles on the property, then I could have them removed.
Okay. So the original complaint you said 5 months ago was for also junk and debris and lawn parking, and those have been taken care of?
Yeah, I believe that the first inspector, Mr. Oas, only found like the landscaping to be an issue, but the unregistered vehicles was a constant issue and throughout time, and the other violations are not there as of today.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yocum, do we have members of the public online to speak on this item?
No, Madam Hearing Officer, nobody online, but we do have two members of the public here in person that would like to speak on this matter.
Okay, thank you. Do you have their names? You can call them up.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, so the first one would be Mr. Lloyd. If you could please approach the podium. Thank you, sir. You'll have about 3 minutes to make your public comment. I'll let you know if we start running out of time, but just to get us started, would you please tell us your name and city of residence?
My name is Lloyd Plates, and I'm a resident of the city of Tempe. I live on East Harvard Avenue.
Okay.
And our street, and I think the address listed 1949. I think it should be 1849.
That is correct.
Because I walk up and down that street every day and drive it every day.
Yes, sir.
And since this man moved in several years ago, I've been living there since '96, I guess it was. And I see what's going on. And almost immediately after he moved in, the previous owner died in the house, and then he purchased the house, I guess, afterwards. But then shortly after, these cars started showing up, first on the driveway, and when he ran out of space on the driveway, they're on the street. And I spoke to Cody about it before he left the city, and he did get the cars that were on the street. He made him get those licensed and registered. But the ones that aren't on the street, he didn't do anything about, and I don't know what the problem was there. but it's been a real eyesore to the residents, not only myself, to see all these cars there. And now the trailer showed up a week ago Saturday, and he started cleaning that out, and it's been there now for almost 10 days. And I think that's beyond the line. And so today I called the City of Tempe Police Department, and they said they'd come out and tag it. But it's just an eyesore. The rest of the residents are complaining to me and everybody else. And so we decided it's time to come and view our complaints again, and hopefully something will get done.
Well, I'm glad you came this afternoon. I think people, there's always a balance of property rights and what people can do with their property, but then, when those rights and the exercise of them affect the surrounding property owners, that's
Right.
when the city has to step in and take action. So I appreciate your being here this afternoon. Thank you very much. You can take a seat, and we have another gentleman here, I believe, wanting to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer. Chris, would you please approach the podium?
Hello, good evening.
Thank you, sir. Just the same thing. You'll have about 3 minutes. If you could start off with just telling us your name and city of residence.
Okay, my name is Chris Green. I live at 1842 East Harvard Drive, which is almost directly across the street from, I guess, Mr. Shepard. It's basically what Lloyd had saying. As soon as the guy came in, I thought he was, having some sort of automobile resale business running out of his house. Not quite sure about that. I looked through city ordinance and tried to see if there was anything against that. I called. I've complained on the Tempe 311 at least 4 or 5 times over the past 3 years, as recently as of yesterday or possibly Friday. I can't remember. But he came in again for a week ago Saturday with this trailer, and they garbage bags, and they're just unloading. It's like they found this trailer somewhere, and they're cleaning it out, and they loaded it in this pickup truck, which sat in front of the house, which got tagged by the police and towed away. It's just become a real problem. And I do have a couple pictures that are almost the same as, is it Cindy? Julie, I'm sorry, not even close. And one of them shows a picture of that trailer. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a look. I think someone has to show them how to use the. Oh.
It may not be viewable, but
Sorry.
we can, if you want to, I can show the hearing officer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple other things that are unrelated and unfortunate, and it can happen to anybody. But we've had to, lock his dogs in our backyard on 3 occasions because no one was home for several days, and they jumped out. And this was in the middle of the summer, and we were concerned about them. But they were running up and down the street, and somehow my wife found the son on Nextdoor app, and after a few days he came and got the dogs. But so there's just all kinds of nuisance with this gentleman, to the point where my wife has said, I think I'm ready to move. I mean, it's gotten that bad. And so sometimes there are like 9 cars there, and it's just ridiculous. Blocking the driveway, which is his own driveway, which I think you can do, I'm not sure, but they also block the sidewalk. So I know that is
Not allowed.
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the input of both of you. Chris, you are correct. This is an R16 zoning district. It's not legal to run a used car operation out of your home, that would require a different zoning district. So that's a different type of violation than what we're talking about this afternoon. But nevertheless, there's way too many cars. And even if they're in the driveway, the fact that they're in the driveway just pushes, the parking needs onto the street. And it just becomes an untenable situation for the neighborhood like yours. Thank you for bringing the photographs. That wide angle was really helpful, so I could see exactly all the different vehicles and, how it's just affecting your neighborhood. Ms. Schofield, I don't think I have any other questions. Okay. Your photographs, Mr. Cooper's photographs were really helpful. I definitely agree, and the property owner has been unresponsive thus far. So I definitely agree that this property needs to be abated. You've asked for 180 days, and I want to give you that so you can stay on top of the property as it needs it. So, and then come back after 180 days if you need to. So I'm going to approve the abatement of these nuisance items contained in CE 225-848. I do want to also note for the record that the correction in the property address, 1849 East Harvard Drive rather than 1949. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
That concludes our agenda this afternoon. Mr. Yocum, do we have any announcements?
Just the one. Our next scheduled hearing officer meeting is set for Wednesday, March 8th at 5 p.m. That will be held here in the Tempe City Council chambers as well as live on Tempe 11.
Okay. How come it's a Wednesday?
Due to a holiday, so it got pushed by a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll have to remember that. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming, gentlemen. We're adjourned this afternoon.